Kamala Harris and the radical liberals force anarchy on the American people while they live in safety, in many cases behind walls. You know that? Nancy Pelosi has a big wall wrapped around her house. Of course, it didn't help too much with the problem she had, did it? But she had a big wall wrapped around her house. But then she says, we don't want to, you have no idea what it was to get the wall done.
All right, so Trump made that joke about Paul Pelosi getting assaulted today during a speech in North Carolina. And this isn't the first time that Trump has made light of the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Trump has made that wall joke before also, so I guess he thinks it's a hit, while also nodding to a bizarre right-wing conspiracy theory that Paul Pelosi and his assailant were lovers. Let's watch this clip from last year.
I will immediately restore and expand the Trump travel ban on entry from terror-plagued countries, which was a big thing. You know, we had no terror during my administration. The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. She's a lunatic. She is a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement. By the way, she's got a wall around her house. Obviously, in that case, it didn't work very well, did it? It didn't work.
You know, so he's referring to this conspiracy theory that went around that, as I mentioned, that Paul Pelosi had his lover, and that was the guy who actually attacked him in his house. And I hadn't really heard about that. I had missed that whole conspiracy up until right now when I was catching up for this story. And it really is crazy the way these things spread and how they can go from some fringe part of the internet to members of Congress like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ted Cruz, all the way up to Donald Trump. But honestly, you know, we can't be surprised by any of this anymore. We, as the American people, can't be surprised by the way that he speaks or the way that he acts, because he's been doing this for years with little to no consequence. Of course, he's going to keep saying and doing inflammatory things because he keeps getting away with it. He said all kinds of things back in 2016. And we made him the president. Then he kept saying crazy things, and we nominated him not one more time, but two more times for the presidency. Cenk, are people ever going to get tired of this? I know that we are here, but the people who consistently enable and encourage Trump, are they ever going to just move on from this?
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it. Yeah, no, they're unfortunately they're not going to. I mean, they're going to love him for the rest of his life, no matter how insane he is. And look at those comments. So, look, he mentions the wall as he often does, and the whole point of that comment is supposed to be, hey, the walls are effective. But now several times he's made the joke about, oh, but they're not effective when it comes to Nancy Pelosi's husband. I remember he got smashed in the head with a hammer by one of my fans because I kept talking about how somebody should do something about the Pelosi's, and then this guy comes in, smashes him in the head, almost killed the old guy. And then I pretended that they were gay lovers. How funny. No, you're one of the worst people that have ever been involved in politics, that have ever been in media. He's a disgusting dumpster fire of a human being. Now, if we flipped it and we were joking around about, well, because in politics, there's another person who got hit in the head, it was Donald Trump. Now, in his case, it wasn't nearly as bad as Paul Pelosi, because Paul Pelosi literally took a hammer to the head and got his skull crushed. Trump was lucky, thank God, and the bullet only nicked his ear. But if anybody said anything about that shooting, and I certainly didn't, I thought that he was pretty brave during that shooting. But if anybody said anything, the Republicans would lose their minds. How could you do this? You're encouraging violence, right? When Trump does it, they don't care at all. Okay, what if we did it exactly what Trump is doing? Like, yeah, it's funny when a politician gets shot in the head. It's so funny. You know what, though, to be fair, who knows, maybe the Trump shooter was in a gay love affair with Donald Trump. And then maybe they had an emotional breakup, and that's why he did what he did here. I don't know, as long as we're making things up. Oh, you don't like it when it's made up about your guy. But you liked it when one of the Trump supporters smashed an 80-year-old guy's head in with a hammer, and you thought it was hilarious to make jokes about how they might be gay. Well, all right. At least we know what kind of people you are.
Yeah, and there's no price to pay. I think you're right to address that or mention it, as because the truth is that that's a big part of this. I mean, even his own party doesn't really make him pay any political price from the very beginning. I mean, his power as a bully and a guy with no bottom hasn't brought on any kind of reprimand, even quiet reprimand from his own party. In fact, as close as you can get to a reprimand is, gosh, I wish he'd work in more policy stuff. I wish he'd talk more about Kamala Harris's policies, but he always goes to these personal attacks. But the fact that he's got no bottom, that he makes this stuff up, that he makes fun of, he made fun of Tim Walz's weight. I saw yesterday, he called him fat. I mean, my God, there is a discourse now in American political life that has been completely redefined because no one really holds him to account for this. So, because he doesn't pay a price, and I think there's even part of his audience and part of his base certainly that enjoys this, that loves it, he will continue to do it, and I expect him to do it, and maybe to some effect. I mean, maybe it works at least for his base. I think those who are on the fence about this guy as to whether or not to vote for him or actually come out on election day and vote for him, they may be put off by it. So there may be a point of diminishing returns on it.
I mean, yeah, and to your point, it's not just that he's not being penalized for a lot of the things that he says and does, but in a lot of ways, at least as far as his ego is concerned, he's being rewarded for the things that he says, right? He made that wall joke a year ago. He brought it back yesterday or today, and he thinks it's a hit. He likes the applause that he gets from it. And, you know, his absolute base, the people who love him because they love Trump himself as a person, as a personality, I should say, they are never going to abandon him. I agree with Cenk there. I think that there is some hope to be had with the people who just vote for him because they vote for Republicans, because, you know, they've been lifelong Republicans, those kind of people. But at the same time, they've excused everything he's said and done up until now. Everything that he's said and done up until now has not been enough for them to not vote for this guy, right? They were able to tolerate it because at the end of the day, they're getting the tax breaks that they want, or they're getting the economy that they want. They're getting whatever it is that they think they're getting from a Trump presidency. So I don't know if there is a breaking point with these people sometimes. I like to think that there could be, but we haven't seen it up until now. And it's been nearly 10 years of this. So it is really exhausting.
And I think you're right, and this is worth underscoring, that there is a transactional relationship that a lot of the electorate has. I'm talking about those that are motivated by evangelical beliefs, for example, or by wanting tax cuts. I mean, big Wall Streeters, big corporate interests, they have a transactional relationship with Donald Trump. So in a way, this stuff bounces off of them. I'm sure it makes them cringe because they want him to win, but it doesn't change their general disposition toward him. So he won't lose any of those people or those constituencies.
Yeah, I just can't bear anyone ever criticizing the Democrats for being uncivil. Because every once in a while, the Republicans will come out and be like, oh, I can't believe they said that about Trump, or they said that about Republicans. The Democrats are so uncivil. Your leader thinks it's really funny that the former Speaker of the House's husband, who's in his 80s, got his head smashed in with a hammer by one of his supporters. By the way, that shouldn't be overly surprising now that we know Donald Trump also told his chief of staff that he thought his own vice president deserved to be murdered on January 6th. He's a terrible human being, but I do want to correct Mark. He said Trump has no bottom, and if my new conspiracy theory is right, he might be the bottom.
Wow, I see what you did.
Like he's not going there, and then you went there, Cenk.
I see what you did.
Okay, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.